Hero Property Managers. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I'm still working through my stein of coffee and it's a rather dreary Friday morning here in Brisbane. You know, the rain's coming in. So I thought, I was looking around for what to talk about and I discovered this article on realestate.com.au and I was a little taken aback because when I think of heroes, I have a bias. You know, the brave champion conquering evil. I'm a bit frustrated with Disney seeming to flip the narrative. Flip the good versus evil narrative in a lot of their newer shows. I think the knight vanquishing the wicked witch or the evil monster. Some of the tales from old. I never thought of, maybe it's just my bias, but of property managers as heroes. That's not really the term I would use to describe that profession. I assume most of them are failed real estate agents or are doing a traineeship to become a real estate. Isn't that a foot into the door? What do you think, everyone? Let me know. Are they heroes? Am I just outdated and old with my opinions? Heroics isn't what it used to be now, isn't it? It's publicly declaring something and getting praise when it's accepted by the mainstream. That's kind of considered heroic now, isn't it? Oh boy. So get your coffee ready and let's have a look at this one. Property managers, the unsung heroes of real estate during the pandemic. Oh, well, Emily, let's see if you're right. Property managers around the country will be using National Property... There's a thing, National Property Managers Day exists. On, what, today? Today. Oh, sorry. Happy National Property Managers Day, everyone. Raise your stein and have a drink. Now, is this just like another bullshit, Secretary's Day? Something just to sell garbage. It has to be. National Property Managers Day. Come on. You can make a national... You know the sad thing is this is probably going to get more attention. National Property Managers Day will get more attention in the mainstream media than National Men's Day. I did a video looking at all of the Men's Day events that were held around the country, and it was really depressing. There were so few of them. Advocating for, men's rights, or taking care of, men offing themselves, even just drawing attention to that, but... What do you think? Do you think I'm wrong here? Have you heard of National Property Managers Day, or have you heard of Men's Day? Anyway, this wasn't meant to be a rant. This is meant to be just me poking fun at something. The pandemic has put immense pressure on the rental market, and property managers have pivoted quickly to handle legislative changes to tenancy acts, rent negotiations between tenants and landlords, and larger portfolios than they may have previously had. All of this while working completely mobile and paperless. How is that meant to be impressive? I guess for someone who may not have a university degree, that might be considered something impressive, but anyone who's studied or anyone who's got a trade, anyone who's run their own business, anyone who's done anything more complex than paper shuffling and looking at a house with a phone every quarter might not be that impressed. Or maybe I'm being unfair. It's their day, Florian. It's their day. They've earned it. By getting a job and doing it, they've earned it. They're heroes. They're heroes. By going above and beyond their job description. Oh, of course, that's it. It's the old not my job mentality. I still remember the first time I heard that. I still remember, I think I was working at Woolies. I was on checkout and I asked someone to do something or to help with something. They go, it's not my job. Not my job. And there's certain triggers we all have. Some people are triggered by words or triggered by, offensive things, or their fifis are triggered by reality. I'm triggered by just laziness. That's one thing that gets to me. A lot worse than it did. I've learned to manage it. You can see if you've been watching me for a while how calm and collected I always am. I'm gonna start a Buddhist meditation retreat, everyone. Anyway, they're going above and beyond their job descriptions. That's why they're heroes. That's why they're heroes. These real estate professionals have helped keep many Australian tenants in a home and ensure landlords are able to continue paying off their mortgage. Leah Calnan, president of the Real Estate Institute of Victoria, said property managers deserve to be celebrated because they are the conduit in every tenancy. I'm sure there are a lot of people that have had good experiences with managers, and a lot of people, I didn't even know who they were, to be honest. I think Rachel probably dealt with them. They manage the difficult conversations, and they get paid for it. They make money off this. It's a business. They deal with the issues. They provide support to both parties at different times, and they need to have an understanding of legislation, maintenance, finances, and social work. The future of property managers continues to look like it has over the past few months. However, most have found themselves adapting to the new norm. They have supported emotional clients. There is no denying that most Australians are going through a highly emotional time. In fact, Lifeline Australia experienced a 25% increase in calls for help in March, compared with the same time last year, with the majority of callers wanting to talk about the pandemic. Now, in all seriousness, that is a very good point that's being raised, and I'm glad that they're starting to talk about this in some newspaper articles. This is fantastic. It's good to see, and I commend Emily Hutchinson for bringing that to the forefront of this piece. While I can poke fun at property managers being heroes, I think that everything that we're going through now is going to heighten the risk of people needing extra help. If you're one of the people, you're a prepper and you're all sorted and you're just watching it all unfold, make sure you reach out to your mates. So the home is a very important part of our lives, so when something threatens that, it impacts us emotionally. With many individuals being stood down from jobs due to lockdown laws, there has been a surplus of tenants and landlords who have found themselves in financial hardship. For tenants, this means they struggle to pay the rent and bills, and for many landlords, mortgage repayments have become a struggle. This is because no one has a reserve. That's the problem. This isn't... Here's the thing. This is an unknown disaster that's occurred. Regardless of, what's going on in the world, it's an unknown disaster. No one was aware this was going to happen. You should have planned for it. That's why you have a 6-month reserve. So it reduces your stress. Even if the government comes and provides support, even if other parties come and help, just having that there, an emergency buffer, reduces your stress. It means you can make decisions calmer. That's the power of it, everyone. That's the power. It's for your benefit. And sadly, that's never taught. We're not taught that at school. We're not taught that anywhere. I'm hoping people will step away and realize. I'm hoping people who are getting the government support, the job seeker, are squirreling away all those extra payments. To hell with them saying that you should spend it. Build your own buffer. See, that's the problem, if people listen to the government. So Amy Sanderson, Network Head of Property Investment Management for LJ Hooker, said herself and her team have dealt with many distressed tenants and landlords during the crisis and have become more resilient as a result. Oh, there you go. See, that's good. They're getting stronger for this. They're getting hardened. Everyone has been emotional, and when people are emotional, they don't necessarily respond to things. They react to things, she said. When people react, it's not always in the best light, and property managers have done a great job in dealing with that. Ms. Sanderson explained that in the beginning of the pandemic, it was difficult to keep on top of all of the changes to legislation across all states and territories. She said her team would receive calls from tenants and landlords asking questions that they didn't yet know the answer to. Tenants were abusing us, and we couldn't give answers. We were too nervous to give answers because if we gave the wrong answer and new legislation came out, we would be locked into something that wasn't right. We needed the certainty and clarity to know what we were talking about. Well, see, this is the problem. It's because the government was always changing the rules. The government was intervening in the market. That's creating this stress, everyone. And that's where the property managers have had to be really strong, because they get blamed for a lot on social media, and it's not necessarily within their control. They've had to have broad shoulders, she said. Welcome to adulthood. Welcome to adulthood. There you go. I mean, frankly, this is probably an industry that very little people have paid much attention to. Welcome to adulthood. They've become highly skilled negotiators. So some people are probably going to come out of this with a range of new skills, and they've been through a challenging situation, and they've become more resilient and more adept. So that's a good story. It's good. I wouldn't call it heroic. But then again, we're living in a world where someone thinks having to submit 10 job applications for a retail job is traumatic and a life-changing event. We just had it so good here in Australia, guys. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. So this was especially true for property managers working in inner-city markets. Georgia Saldatos, team leader and accountability manager at Bell Property Management, manages property in North Melbourne and Carlton. With less demand from international students due to border closures and an increase in short-term listings converting to rental listings, like we've talked about over and over again, she said her team had been managing more properties than they used to, so they've got to work. Some of my team have got 10 vacancies coming up, she said. With this increase in listings and without nearly as much demand, she said they have found themselves heavily negotiating to try and keep tenants in a property. Tenants seeing and know they can get properties for $50 to $100 cheaper, so we're trying to convince owners that they've got really good tenants who are maintaining the property and we don't want to see them go, she said. Well, I'm going to have a coffee with that. It just means it's now a tenant's market, so they're actually having to work. They're having to work to, get their money, to get their coin. If no one's paying rent, how much are you going to get to manage a property, everyone? It's about convincing owners that even if they take a $15 a week rent reduction, which isn't very much, they'll still be in a better position than having a property sitting vacant, trying to lease it out, paying advertising and letting fees. We're trying to find a happy medium between tenants and landlords because many properties are out there at the moment that are cheaper and tenants think it's an easy way out. It's about negotiating, a lot of negotiation with owners to drop rents so they don't lose the tenants. They're becoming more mobile agents. The pandemic has had a devastating impact on many industries, many of which have had to shut down, but the real estate sector has had to push past the hurdles brought on by the pandemic as it is classed as an essential service. Many real estate agents have closed shop with employees forced to work from home instead, and property managers are no exception. I think that's going to have a lasting impact on a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses. If you can save money and not needing a premises, why not? Why not? We'll see how it's reflected in commercial properties in the years ahead. Inspections are still going ahead, but they're now being done via private appointments or virtually, particularly in Victoria, creating a new challenge for property managers. Terry Kesinin, head of property management at Code Property Group, said the pandemic has really pushed herself and her team to become completely mobile and paperless, which she said is an exciting prospect for the future. It is a challenge to be paperless, I admit. I've tried for it, but I still fall back to paper. I still have the folders with paper. We had to change our systems and our processes because property management is traditionally a paper nightmare, she said. We've always prided ourselves on being a paperless office. But with the pandemic, it gave us the kick to realize we still actually use paper. We're now 100% paperless in our office. That was our biggest challenge, and that we converted everything to online. Oh, that's good. This is seeing some advantages to some of these businesses. Some of these people are learning new skills, they're becoming more resilient, and these businesses are adapting. See, so this is another thing to consider. We're getting all this negativity and the doomer and tough times, but benefit can come out of it. Opportunities can appear. It's not the end. So she said her team embraced digital inspections to showcase rentals and saw top results. Our leasing girls adapted so much quicker than we would have thought. They jumped on with 360 cameras, walkthroughs, FaceTiming. They just flew out the door. We were renting an average 10 properties a week, she said. Well, that's probably because it's what they do in their normal life, to be honest. They probably have 360 cameras themselves. I'd love to get one. Actually, that's on my list. A cheaper one than the Matterport I had. I think for everyone in my office, they just absolutely embraced change. They've adapted, they've grown, because it's a matter of sink or swim. So what does the future have in store for property managers? While in some states restrictions are easing, in others like Victoria, Lockdown laws are back in place in probably New South Wales. Despite the latest federal government stimulus announcement that JobKeeper and JobSeeker wage supplements will be extended at a reduced level until March 21, the prospects for the rental market will look much the same as they have over the last few months. Property managers know they must continue to push through this difficult time to support the rental market, using their new skills to ensure tenants and landlords remain happy. This isn't a short-term issue, it's going to be a long-term issue, and in order to stand out, the property managers and their companies, the real estate agents, will have to be really proactive in negotiating, providing some rent relief, and maintaining the tenants they have. Not just being reactive, but proactive. Contacting owners now more than ever. Well, here's the thing. This isn't heroic. This is the tables have turned. Now you have to work. Congratulations. The property management industry is now finally, for the first time in probably a long time, experiencing some of the challenges that other industries are experiencing. They're having to work. They're having to push. They're having to negotiate. They're having to strive. Some will emerge from the top. Others will find it a little too hard and wish that 12 years of classical music study and those 12 jobs paid off. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you think they're heroic with these efforts? But it is encouraging to see some positive spins on what's challenging times for a business. I think heroicism is a little bit far. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays. You can use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.